Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we're going to be attempting to repair this vintage digit paperback here, I, Robot, which is quite a scarce early science fiction book, and my copy is in a right old state, so that's what we're going to be having a look at today. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so I think the first thing to do is basically take this book out of its various components. You see, it is all there, but you can see it's in a right old state. So I think what we need to do is, well, strip it back to its, in effect, its bare bones. Now this lot all seems to have come out quite easily, so we'll slide that over there for now. I think initially what we want to do is just, there's bits of tape that's been stuck on the inside pages, which is evidently dried, as you can see. Now, in actual fact, that I think is the first few pages done. Yeah, quite famous this because they spelled Isaac Asimov's name wrong, as you can see. It's a reasonably early digit. It's digit 164. Now, I do collect digit, and I also collect Asimov, and the reason I sort of opted for this one is because I've been waiting for one to turn up for ages, and it was the last of the original Asimov in British paperback first that I was after. Now, that actually is quite encouraging, because I know we got some mess there, but with luck we'll be able to glue the actual blocks back together again. So I think that's what we can do for that bit, but let's go back and work our way through these. So yeah, see, I want to make sure there's no tape on if I can help it. See, it's just sort of crumbling in my hands, which is actually pretty lucky. So that's that bit okay. It's so brittle. I think we're probably better off working from back to front, where they've basically put in bits of tape. It's like systematically whoever tried to repair this has gone through the book and put some tape in at certain points. Okay. So if we just try and do it on each bit first of all to get this old tape off. This does remind me a little bit of when I repaired Forbidden Planet, which was quite a few years ago now. That was in a right old state, and the cover was actually in pieces, but we managed to get it together again. There we are, that bit's already come off, so that's okay. And that is actually okay, it's not been taped, so that's alright. And I think we already got the tape off that bit. Okay, 9. Right, so that's already got a load of rubbish out from inside it. Now, what I think might be the best plan, in fact, hopefully the only real plan, the books are there, the block is there, and it's all in one piece. So put that to one side. See, that's not actual tape, it's just stained. Now, I was hoping, in a way, that we'd just have the cover completely on its own to work with, but we haven't. But it's not too bad, in actual fact. It's quite a presentable copy, really. Yeah, there's a bit of wear on it. but I don't think I'm going to clean the cover until we've got the book back as one, i.e. give the book a bit of a polish, that is, you know. Now, what I did, I pulled out some digit books from my collection, which are the same period as the ones that we're looking at here. And, you know, it's just like a perfect bind at the top. Now, whether we're going to be able to get it as good as that, these are the books all around it, you see. So it's got a bit of spine roll. But what I'm looking at particularly is this bit here. And it's just sort of glued in. So on our copy, I'm thinking if I can somehow bind those bits together into a block like that, and then glue the finished block into there, I'm hoping that might be about as good as we're likely to get, in all honesty. Here's the book that came right after this one, 165. So we know what we're aiming to do. I think the next thing is going to be to try and glue that block together. So what I've done, I've bought some of this stuff. Now, I've never used it before. Glue it bookbinding glue. So it's specifically marketed as bookbinding glue, and apparently it comes out very accurately. And by that, I mean there's a lot of control when you actually use it. So you see the spout on it is very, very small. Now, what I'm sort of worried about, we need to put it across the complete length of the book. So I've got a bulldog clip here, and what I'm thinking of doing, we know the books are in order, the pages are in order rather, so I'm going to pop the bulldog clip on there. It's a really strong one, so that will keep it in position there. And I've also got an elastic band. Now I've got two, I don't know, they're about the same sort of height, width rather. I don't want to overdo this. If it's going to stretch the pages, I don't want to do it. Yeah, and it is. That's a shame. I need an elastic band which has got a little bit more give on it to keep it in situ. I mean, we may be all right. What I'm thinking of doing is that I want that bottom bit to be as flat as possible, and as it is right now, that is actually in place. It may be what I need to do. It might be a two-stage job here. Is basically use the bulldog clip on this side, and I go along there and glue the bits, put a layer of the bookbinding glue along this bit of the spine, and just leave it, and move the bulldog clip down like that once I've glued it, and then I'll leave it to dry, and then I'll come back and do like the second half of it. Something along those lines is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. So we'll put it up there. So I'm going to start with this end here, and I'm going to put the bookbinding glue along there. So I'm holding it together and having a little prey. Obviously none of this is going to be visible because this spine is going to be not visible once it's glued back into the cover of the book. But I've no idea how easy it's going to be to go on. It's coming out quite smoothly. Right, well there we are. So I don't know how long this is going to take to dry at all, but my thinking is it could be easily a while, shall we say, you know. But I think we've got all the main bits glued in as best we can, the blocks. So I don't know if it's going to remain white or if it's going to turn clear. No real idea on that one. But the main thing is the pages are together. I'm just going to move the bulldog clip along a little bit, so the main area that we're focusing on is pushed together. Whether it will just sort of stay in that slight rise or not, I don't know. Literally don't know. But it's all a bit of an experiment. It seems to be sort of going into the book a bit, you know. And we've not been tardy. We've put it on quite liberally, haven't we? So, well, I'm just watching what's happening while we're doing this. It's does seem to have sort of sunk in a bit. Can you see that? You can see like the lines, the different bits that have been pushed together. Okay, well, watch this space, and we'll come back in a while and see what it's looking like. Okay, so I've been back online and I read a few like little reviews about this one because I bought it off Amazon, and I will put a little link to it in the description down below. Now, one of the main things that people said was really good about this was that it dries really quickly. So I think it's just going to dry exactly as we've got it there with the white on. So because of that, I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and do this second bit. I think, you know. I think we're just gonna go for it. All right, so and then we shall leave it for some time, like maybe overnight, and then we'll have a look and see what it's looking like then. I don't expect it to be perfect, but I expect it to be pretty good, you know, with a bit of luck. So I'm going to stick some glue along here at this bit now, and we shall hope for the best. Certainly it's going to be not falling to bits like it did last time, you know, when we started. But it is true, because the nozzle is so small, it is quite easy to be pretty accurate on this. And I realise it's a bit difficult to film. So hopefully you can sort of see what's going on. If you want to attempt this on a book yourself, as I said, it's all experimental. I'm not a trained bookbinder by any means, or book repairer, but I just use my own sort of techniques. So there we are. I think that's pretty comprehensively on now. So I'm going to move it halfway, and I'm just going to leave it now for probably, because I got work the next couple of days, I'm going to leave that for 48 hours. Then I'll come back and I'll have a look and see what it's looking like. In a couple of days' time. Hopefully nice and strong enough so that we can then glue it back into the main sort of book here, which that's exactly where it's got to go, this wedge. Brilliant. Well, see you in 48 hours. Okay, so 48 hours later, and look at that. Wow, it actually sort of, it's like it's solidified, and it looks almost like rubbery, if you know what I mean. So we do still have that loose page that didn't actually bind, but the rest of it, it's like a solid block, pretty much. I think that's better than I was expecting. So yeah, we got one odd page, which is a bit of a shame, which needs to go on that way. But I think we are all set to glue it again like that, and yeah, and put it together, and then leave that again for another day or so, and then we'll finish it off. But that certainly looks as if it could go in there quite neatly, doesn't it? I think just looks straightforward to me. So a little bit of damage there, but, you know, the pages are turned over, which we probably won't notice much once it's been glued back down, in all honesty. So I don't want to get rid of them, but I'll leave them there. And that's about as flat as I can make it. And yeah, well, the tape does seem to be a bit of a, this glue, it does seem to be a bit of a revelation. So I did watch back the initial footage that I took, and I realized that it was really difficult to see the actual application of the gum, of the glue here. So hopefully you can see it's just such a fine point that you can actually put the glue on with some level of accuracy, as you can see. So I'm going to be quite liberal, because it is the entire book we're going to be gluing back in, as well as that one odd page. So hopefully this time we'll be able to see a little bit clearer what we're doing. So I still don't know actually how long it took to actually go that way, you know, so it, you know, went clear and solid. But as I said, I'd left it for 48 hours because I was at work for a couple of days and didn't have a chance to do any filming at all. I didn't even have a chance to come back and check it. And I've got to say, I'm pretty pleased with that. It looks better than I was expecting, which is great. So evidently there's some sort of chemical reaction in the glue which causes it just to go clear. Once it sort of dries out a little bit, which we can see already happening there. So I'm not going to put any more glue on the bit that we've already done, but I am going to just try and put this in place as best as possible. So we've got the loose page in there as well. So a little bit squished out the bottom and the top. That's okay. Main thing is we want it fully wrapped around, don't we? So I really need to sort of push it in, I think. Yeah, it's still going to have a bit of an overlap, sadly. But I think it's going to work. What I'm half tempted to do is actually pop a little bit of glue in the top there as well. The bottom's a little bit of a tighter seal, if that makes sense. You sort of see it in there, but the top looks like there's a little bit of a gap. So pop a little bit in there. As I said, it may look a little bit like Tipex at the moment, but we do know that that when it dries clear, and it will just, hopefully that will just look more like a normal sort of bookbind when it's actually dried out. So the cover is in as much as I can get it, but it's not come right to the edge here. So if you look at a regular book, the cover goes right round. Oh, that's a bit of a red one. But so I'd say not perfect, but I'd say not too bad, in all honesty. So it seems to have taken straight away. You know, it's actually taken on the book. So, well, we're going to need to give that some time now to dry off. So I'm going to leave it another day, another 24 hours, and then we'll come back to it and we'll have a final look, and we'll give the cover a bit of a polish as well, just to get it looking as good as possible. But there we are, stage 2. Okay then, so it's been another couple of days really since I've had a chance to have another look at iRobot, and well, it does appear at first glance that it's completely bound in. Let's just flick through. The pages are all in order. They're not tight. It's not like the book has just come out of bookshop, obviously, but they are all in place. Now, this first page here, I've got to say I am half tempted to put a little bit of glue along there, because you can sort of see it would have been glued down, but you know, I don't think it's actually going to make that much difference. I mean, the book, if you wanted to read this exact edition, you now could. It may not be the most pleasant experience in the world, but it is definitely readable. And I think we have, rescued this one from, well, it was one step away from the bin, really, wasn't it? Let's be honest. So I don't think we've done too badly there. Now, one thing I did want to do is just to give the cover a little polish, a little bit of a sheen before we finish off. So I generally use Mr. Sheen, which is just an all-purpose furniture polish. I use a soft cloth. I spray some Mr. Sheen directly on there. Dab it in so it's not going on too thickly. But with a cover like this, which is quite dark, you're not going to see like fingerprints and that disappear and dirt disappear that clearly. But on certain white covers and that, you definitely do. So even though that didn't have really any obvious sort of muck on it, it actually has come up really nicely, that front cover. The spine, not a great deal we can do with that. There's a little splash of something on the bottom of the spine, but can be a little bit harder to get those, particularly with the way that this book is. Gently rub the back cover as well. I haven't put any extra polish on because too much can definitely damage it, but you can see we've that area there is definitely sort of brightened up. So any sort of surface like fingerprints and that, we've now definitely got off. And then the last thing I think we're going to need, just to keep this book looking as good as possible, I think we're going to stick it in a bag. So let me go and grab one of them now. Okay, so for bagging paperbacks, I use this brand here, which is BCW. Now, generally speaking, you can get these in two sizes for paperbacks. These are digest and manga bags. So there is a specific digest one, and these ones here are for more standard A format paperbacks. But I tend to use these for larger books and thicker books. So you have to use the digest ones. But I'm hoping that our little digit's going to fit in a normal paperback bag there, of which I have one handy, which is this one here. Generally speaking, you can get the bags off Amazon, and I will link to them in the description down below. And I will also, of course, link to the bookbinder's glue. So there we are. So I am going to seal this one down as well. Once again, I tend to use Scotch tape because it's one of the ones which is a little bit easier. If you want to open the book, you can open it and generally reseal it and use the same sort of bag. It doesn't wreck the bag completely. There we are. So I think that looks pretty good, really. I mean, it's definitely going to be a placeholder until a better one comes along, but it's now quite comfortable sliding in with the rest of my my digit books there, which at the moment haven't been bagged, but its spot is exactly there at number 164. I think that looks absolutely fine, and yeah, not out of place at all. There we are, with my other digit books. So there you go. I hope you found that useful. If you have, do please give the video a thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage paperback content, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.